Hey guys, Dov here, back from my little break, and we've got this replay on full pause because the Wood Elves have taken a very aggressive surround vanguard stance against this Cathayan army. Stormrunner, the submitter of this replay, I wanted to talk about a few choices he's made here that's pretty smart on this map in particular. I would say Wood Elves are one of the best factions at taking advantage of unusual maps and terrain types. Glacial Lake is very notable in that it is tiny and affords very fast rush opportunities, and it's also relatively small, which means this sort of tall build from Stormrunner here with quite a few elites will be able to operate fairly effectively despite, sort of the cramped space, or sort of, because of the cramped space. We got a couple of Blade Singers here up front in Vanguard, a couple of Treekin, including the Firebark Elders, to help resist some damage and sort of soak the attention initially. The Lord choice is a Lore of High Magic Spellweaver. Again, smart choice. You can almost guarantee that Cathay is going to take a Flying Lord of some kind, especially the Shooting Gun Lord, super cost effective, so this Tempest is going to be a great response to that. Also got Apotheosis for healing, and Hand of Glory for a bit of a melee attack buff, situationally, on single units. Loex Blessing also gives Area of Effect, Stalk, and Unspottable. Can help specific units get into combat without being seen, so great choices. We've got the Hawkeyes, Regiment of Renown, Waywatchers on the side here. Some Swift, Shivershar, Deepwood Scouts, and then the Lost Sylvan Knights, along with the Wardens of Kithral, Wildwood Rangers, who of course have Vanguard and Spears and Shields, so they get a nice 55% missile block chance. A lot of elites here. Again, these guys' stats are incredible. Great attack and defense with armor sundering as well, and of course the Blade Singers also have great AP for Cathay. Let's get the battle started as their forces start to respond to this Vanguard. We've got a couple of Crane Gunners, a couple of Jade Warrior Crossbow Shields, some Jade Warriors up front, some Peasant Long Spears mixed in here as well. Looks like 5 of them in total. Dragon-Blooded Shooting Gun and the Righteous Lances, along with another unit of Longmas that are immediately going to drop down and charge these Deepwood Scouts, which is definitely great value for Cathay. Deepwood Scouts, relatively expensive skirmish unit to just be left exposed like this, although the one here, the Righteous Lances, gets baited in and actually countercharged by the Lost Sylvan Knights. The Frostbite and high AP will mean they'll be able to tear apart these Righteous Lances. Gonna take some damage in response, it looks like, from a nice Talons of the Night there, but we'll see. In the front line, there's just too many threats. Cathay doesn't have enough of a density of missiles here to respond to everything at the same time. So, although these Treekin get pushed back here, the Firebark Elders also take significant damage. The Blade Singers actually managed to get into combat completely untouched just about, and they are going to shred these poor Jade Warriors. I've never actually watched this particular matchup up close, but these nice, tall elf ladies here are going to blend those tiny little Cathayan infantry and be able to tear them apart in a big hurry. That said, the Cathayan missiles are still mostly operational right now, able to respond here, firing at the Hawkeyes, getting a bit of an apotheosis there to heal themselves back up, help resist some of that damage, get that stock and Unspottable as well, perhaps from Loex Blessing. Over here, the Dragon-Blooded Shooting Gun decided to charge down into melee combat here, which is a bold choice. Does have magic attacks and will be able to deal significant damage to the Lost Sylvan Knights, but that Frostbite and AP damage meant that she also took a lot of damage in return, which may not end up being worth it at the end of the day, but we'll certainly see. Blade Singers finally compromise some of these missile units, and they're going to chase the Train Gunners around. Blade Singer's speed definitely comes into play here. All of these Cathayan units, infantry, are going to be slower, right? And the Cathayan player also didn't take any cavalry here, which besides the flying cavalry, I guess, which is mostly already combat ineffective. I mean, we do have the Righteous Lances there chasing off some Deepwood Scouts. Honestly, the other unit probably got mown down by the Hawkeyes or Jakira there. I wasn't really paying attention, I'm not going to lie, but I don't see them anywhere, so I probably met with a rather nasty end. Meanwhile, the elite infantry for the Wood Elves gets in here, again, without taking too much damage from the Jade Warriors and able to compromise them. Jade Warriors, very slow speed, only 30. Definitely not even going to be able to get away from the Wildwood Rangers there at 38 speed. So Wood Elves infantry quickness definitely coming into play here. We've also got the Treekin coming back to go for another round here, kind of tank out these Peasant Long Spears momentarily. The Blade Singers once again showcasing their athletic prowess, just going to straight up run away from those Ancestral Warriors. I also remind Stormrunner here, oh yeah, I could pop a little Tempest and probably finish off the Shooting Gun. Overcast did result in some damage on the High Spellweaver, but Shooting gun desperately trying to land to prevent the damage. Doesn't help. And she just lands to, fall gracefully onto the ice rather than falling from a great height, which I suppose is a more comfortable way to do it, but still, nice apotheosis there to continue sustaining those Blade Singers. And now with the loss of the Shooting gun, that's going to be a pretty decisive leadership hit. Although, I will say, there's still a lot of Cathayan infantry left on the field. Maybe they could perhaps stabilize their leadership and try and move in, beat down some of these units in the late game. The problem here is that, all these units have such high combat stats, and without Harmony, these Cathayan units will not be fighting nearly as efficiently as they would otherwise. Notice how, with the missile units gone and sort of the way Stormrunner attacked here, he was able to prevent most units from being in harmony for most of the battle, which is definitely a key component of beating Cathay, whether in land or otherwise. Just got to make sure they're not getting benefit from that harmony as much as possible. Likewise, the speed differentials. Loic's Blessing also does give extra speed as well. So, when those Wood Elf units rout their Cathayan counterparts on infantry fights, they can very quickly chase and destroy those units. So pretty quickly, it's looking like army losses and a relatively fast replay today from Stormrunner, but I definitely thought it was interesting and great utilization of the terrain, and an excellent performance by Blade Singers. Not every day you get to see these gals shine so much, but 200 kills, 1781 damage value there, 309 specifically, and 1897 on this other one here. Wardens of Kithro also get an impressive number of kills. Don't quite pay for themselves technically on damage value, but tactically, the Trakin just taking the damage was super useful as well. Stag Knights do also manage to pay for themselves. Granted, the Cathayan players sort of panic YOLOing the Righteous Lances directly into them was definitely a mistake, certainly. That can be agreed on. And from a build perspective, again, taking that map into consideration, I would probably cut these crane guns and just go like 5 Jade Crossbows, because the 2 Jade Crossbows he did take, it paid for themselves, and this is probably the best individual unit in this matchup for Cathay. The shields and the ability to respond at range, especially with the high density of fire, right? Sort of a critical mass of crossbows. You're going to be able to just deck units so fast that they really won't be able to get into combat even, especially with proper focus fire. Like if you had 5 Jade Crossbows and you're able to focus the Blade Singers immediately, upon the advance, that would have definitely swung things differently. But it's easy for me to say that without playing the game. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But certainly a very interesting matchup. Got another replay I may end up showing in this matchup in another week or so, but there's hundreds of other matchups in the game to show off, so maybe we'll revisit that another time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.